Uh, I'm happy to inform to all the participants that our speaker for today's segment, Professor Dr. Anukul Manish Hait sir, is with us. So, sir, on behalf of Prestige Institute of Management, Devas, would like to welcome you for this today's session.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So without taking much time, I would like to introduce you to our participants first, and then we can have the session.
Yeah.
So I would like to have the introduction to all the participants about our speaker. Sir is Professor and Head of Human Resource and General Management in Prestige Institute of Management Research in Indore. Sir has done PhD, MPA and LW, PGDPM and BSc. Sir is selected for AICTE UK IERI Leadership Development Program, which is level 5 in 2020. He is approved PhD guide in management for DAVV Indore. Sir, under Sir's leadership, there are 15 research scholars have been done PhD. He has more than 25 years of teaching experience and has industrial experience in personnel department. He has been awarded Best Teacher by PIMR in international conference held in 2009. Many congratulations, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
His area of interest includes human resource management, human resource development, industrial relations and labor laws, and organizational behavior. He has attended several conferences and his many papers have been published in reputed journals, which are ABTC, Scopus, and UGC listed. His manual on emotional intelligence scale and organization commitment have been published. He has attended faculty development programs which were sponsored by AICTE New Delhi. He has also conducted personality development sessions, mock interviews for CAs and management students. Sir has also conducted sessions for platoon commanders at Rustomjee Armed Police Training College, Indore, NGO, UGC Center, Saurashtra University, Rajkot. He is also an editorial member of many reputed journals. So we welcome you once again to our session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll be sharing the screen.
Yes, sir. I'll make you.
I think you'll give permission.
Yeah, I'll making you a presenter, sir. Now you will be able to share.
Can I share now?
Yes, sir, you can share now. You are the co-host now, sir. You will be able to share, sir.
Yeah, is it visible?
Yeah. Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. I think it is not possible to have a two-way communication right now. I would like to have that only, but since the topic is probably it is written in a different manner in the brochure. But in today's session, I'll be talking about how to develop a scale. That is a manual. And first of all, we should know what is a scale. Scale is a tested questionnaire. If since we all are from teaching fraternity, so we develop a questionnaire for our research work, and we also guide our students so that they can also develop a questionnaire when they go for a research. The research can be done in any area like marketing, finance, IT, operations management, HR, or it can be general management. But students are supposed to develop a questionnaire because we always guide them, that when they go for a major research project or a minor research project, or it can be a summer internship project, we always tell them to prepare a questionnaire. But at the same time, I would also like to say that as a teacher, as a faculty, we always prefer that scale, if it is available in the either in the market, or it is available free of cost, or it is available in our library, it is always beneficial for a student because its reliability and validity is always tested. Can I have answers from you people in a chat box? Yes or no? Is it good to use a scale or it is good to use a questionnaire?
Participants are requested to please respond in the chat box.
Yeah, because I have already said that the scale has a reliability. It's a tested one, which is having a reliability and a validity tested one. It is good one. And generally, some people prefer to prepare a questionnaire because they believe that whatever they are framing now, it is ultimate. So, what do you suggest? We should use a scale or we should use a questionnaire?
Sir, I have a request if you can make your screen full screen, the PPT.
Okay, just a minute. Yeah, just a minute. Yeah, is it okay?
Yes, fine. Fine, so perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope the answers are there.
So many participants are saying that scale is a better option.
Yeah, definitely. Right. That I wanted to know as well. And that is the correct answer, which you people have already given. No. So this way, scale is always good. Right. I'll come to the next one. I have just mentioned certain steps which are very much important when we develop a scale. First of all, as a faculty, I believe all our faculty members who have joined this session, that is RM workshop. So one needs to select the area in which you would like to develop a scale. For example, I'm a HR faculty. I'm in the area of HR and general management. So definitely, I would prefer a scale which I would like to develop, and that too in an area like HR. Recently, I'm thinking of developing a scale in one of the HR topics. But previously, I have developed, as in my introduction, also it has been said that I have developed a scale on emotional intelligence that I have mentioned in the second point also. So you need to select a title, right? First of all, you need to develop an area, whether I'm a marketing faculty or I'm a HR faculty or a finance faculty. So you need to decide. Even you can go beyond your area. Suppose I'm a HR faculty, but if I have a friend who is developing a skill in the area of finance, then I can switch in finance area and I can help my friend in the finance area. So it is not important that if you are from HR area, you will be developing a skill in HR area only. So this is something, interdisciplinary work can always be done. So in the second point, as I have mentioned, that the topics could be emotional intelligence, organizational commitment. I have taken a topic from marketing, service quality. You may have a customer satisfaction, then financial literacy. I have taken one just because there are people from finance area also. So you can take financial literacy, or it could be a job satisfaction, or it can be something else also. So I hope that topic of your manual or your topic of your scale is okay. I hope you everybody got it. Can I have yes or no in the chat box? So depending on your area, yeah, depending on your area, you can always choose a particular, topic so that, you can think of, it may be a new topic also, but it will be little difficult in the case when it is a new topic because you may not have literature available. So we prefer that some work should have been done earlier, right? So I hope the answers are there. So we prefer that any topic like financial literacy. I remember I was going through a project in which the skill was developed by someone in the financial literacy because there are many people who are well educated, but then they do not have much knowledge of finance, how to invest money, like and what is the basic criteria to invest money, whether it is a mutual fund or maybe it is a real estate or something else, right? So then we come to the third point, that is the literature review on selected title. As I have done study on emotional intelligence and organizational commitment, naturally I have gone through a rigorous literature review, which is on the topic which I had selected that time. that is emotional intelligence. Suppose I want to develop a scale on job satisfaction, then it is my prime duty to go through the literature review, not only the studies which have been done in India, but I need to take the studies which have been done in, not only pan India, but this can be globally, which have been done. And maybe that study might have been done in hospital industry. It can be in a service sector like, telecom industry. It can be hotel industry and so on. So it hardly matters. Yeah, pardon, anyone has a question?
So there is a question that is, what is the meaning of a scale? One of the participants wanted to know.
Scale is as I said in the beginning also, I will repeat it again. Scale is a tested questionnaire which is having a, proved reliability and validity. And normally when we prepare a questionnaire, we don't check its, we hardly check its reliability. We don't go through a rigorous process. I will be telling you the rigorous process which we use while developing a scale, or I will use a word manual, right? So that it can be published. And as I have been told by my senior, he says that a manual which you are publishing through any publisher, it is having a weightage of a book also, or it is equivalent to 3 research papers. So scale has that way very important in our lives as an academician. I hope the answer is okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll proceed. So it is a duty when I'm deciding on a topic like job satisfaction or financial literacy. I need to go for a literature review, which is not only done in India, but needs to be studied, certain studies which have been done globally. So it can be in any area, as I said, any sector, whether it is manufacturing or it is a service sector. And when you are going through a literature review, it is your duty first duty rather, I would say, that you need to understand what exactly authors have identified in that literature review. And definitely you may come across with various factors which they have explored during their studies, or they might have gone for a demographical study, or it might be a study which is only talking about relationship with certain topics, like for example job satisfaction and maybe the emotional intelligence that could be taken as a topic, or it could be a service quality and customer satisfaction. Marketing people must be knowing Parshuraman scale. Yes or no? Scale of Parshuraman is very popular in marketing stream because he has talked about customer satisfaction and service quality. And this is definitely, I'm very sure that people must have used marketing faculties. They must have used this scale at least once in their academic career. Either they might have guided the students so that they have used this scale, or they might have studied and they have used it in their own research study also. So the literature review plays very, very important role in understanding the concept, and then you can choose a right definition. I'll come to the next point. Then you need to select a standard definition on the selected title. I will just give you one example. When I did my emotional intelligence work with the help of Dr. Upinder Dhar, who is right now Vice Chancellor of Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth, and one of my colleagues, Dr. Sanjot Pethe. I remember we took a standard definition, right? A standard definition given by Goleman. Goleman is considered as a father of emotional intelligence. So you need to understand, and not only understand, but you need to identify a particular definition, or I would say definition rather, which is a very prominent one, which is talking about many areas, so that anything which you want to add in your work is not left out, right? Yeah, any question if you have, I would like to have the questions, and then we will proceed. Ma'am, please help me in giving me the questions.
Sure, definitely we'll coordinate. If anybody is having any question, please put it in the chat box so that sir can answer it. Else we can.
Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir. No question.
Yeah, so you need to select a standard definition. When I use the word standard definition, it means a very authentic and a very comprehensive definition, which is helping the researchers. I'm using the word researcher that I will be discussing later on. So it can be read by them, and finally they can give their opinion on the statements which you will be generating later on. Right. So I'll come to the next point. You have to generate the items. We actually, when we are using the questionnaire, I will use initially questionnaire word also because it is not a scale right now. Later on, it will be developed in the form of a scale. So after going through the literature review, you are trying to generate as many statements as you can, right? For example, if I'm developing a scale on financial literacy, so I'm trying to gather information with the help of literature review, and I'm trying to generate many statements. They can be 50, they can be 60, they can be even 40 also, less than 50 also, it can be more than 50 also. But it is my duty that the definition which I have used should serve the purpose. The statements which I'm generating now out of the literature review, that should be correlated with the definition. Otherwise the experts will reject it. So one should not be worried about the rejection of the statements, but try to use as much as you can with the help of literature review. And you need to prepare more items. You need to prepare more statements so that these can be selected. But if something is left out, we are not worried about that, right? So initially, you can have many statements or items. We may use both the words interchangeably. So initially, you may have 70 statements. I just take a very simple example that we may have 70 statements. After that, you need to select at least 10 judges, as it's sort of a thumb rule that you should not have less than 10 judges, and these judges should be in that area itself. Suppose I am taking the judges from IT area, and my topic is HR. So we prefer that they are knowledgeable people, no doubt, but because the definition which they are looking at right now may not be understood by them. They may not correlate the statements and the definition. So we always prefer that judges should be from the relevant area. This is my suggestion. If somebody wants to take the judges from some other area, they can take, but it is my humble request that you should take judges from the relevant area because they can always correlate. So in my case, I have taken only judges from the relevant area, that is from HR. So you need to have selection of you need to select 10 judges. Maybe they have good experience. It can be academic experience. Maybe it is a blend of academic and industrial experience. But I would suggest that one should have more academic experience rather than industrial experience. So these judges will play a very important role in the further step. Any question if you have, please let me know.
So no questions. No questions.
Right. Then you need to show all the statements or items which you have generated. As I took the example that I'm just hypothetical, I'm using 70 statements. So 70 statements which I have generated, these 70 statements will be shown along with the standard definition to the judges one by one. Right. So if I go to judge one, so I will be showing him or her the statements, all the statements, and I will be showing him or her the standard definition. And it is the duty of the judge to say yes or no for all the statements, whether he's accepting those statements or not. So there are chances that few statements might be dropped, right? And some judges might say that, okay, all the statements which you have given are appropriate. So it all depends on individual judge, right? And it is my again suggestion when you are developing a scale or when you are generating a statements, try to have all statements in a on a positive note. Actually, what happens, even if I have seen certain scales where they have talked about, the negative things. I don't believe that, I'm using a hypothetical statement, right? So I don't believe that mutual fund is a appropriate tool for savings. So when somebody is responding, he's responding on the basis of your statement. But when you are feeding this, the result of that, it should be converted. Otherwise, the purpose will not be served. So we always either you prefer or you prepare a statement which is definitely all positive manner, or otherwise you need to convert. Still, if anybody has a question, let me know.
Sir, somebody is asking that negative stated statements we should not take. This is what he wanted to
Try to
confirm.
avoid. Yeah, try to avoid. I said try to avoid. But if you have a negative statement, then while feeding the data, you need to convert it, because I said I don't believe this. And I'm saying five, I'm saying five number, right? Five is on a 5-point scale, five is the highest one. So then while feeding the data, I need to convert, right? This is more
Okay.
important. Then, as I said, you need to take the approval from all the judges, right? All the judges for each statement, that is yes and no. Suppose I have, as I said, I have 10 judges. I have taken yes and no for all the statements. So finally, when I'm gathering the data, uh, just a minute. Just wait a minute.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So you need to take the approval from all the judges in the form of yes and no. And you need to select only those statements or items which are having at least 75 yes for that particular one. For example, maximum judges have, or more than 75% people are not accepting that particular statement, that you need to drop it. Are you getting the point?
Yes, sir.
Everybody, I'm sure they are getting it.
So there is one question in the middle. I would like to put it here. Somebody is asking about the relationship between scale and abstract. So
Abstract is only the gist of your study.
okay.
Suppose I have done a study on customer satisfaction in telecom industry with respect to Indore city in a particular industry, in a particular organization. So what I have done, I have just given meaning of customer satisfaction, and I may talk about a little bit on, I may throw light on telecom industry, and I may mention the tools which I have used in my study, and maybe the outcome of the research. That's all, along with the keywords. So that is your abstract. It is not a scale, right?
Fine, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So after taking the approval from the judges, which is definitely, as I said earlier also, that suppose I have 70 statements which I have generated in the beginning, and suppose around 60 statements have been accepted by 75% with 75% minimum. So I will be dropping the remaining questions. I'm using the word question, I'm using the word item, I'm using the word statement also. Is it right?
Okay, sir.
Anyone has a question?
So one question is there regarding whether to go for a 5-point or a 7-point Likert scale.
Generally, in research, if I take my research experience, I will not say that I'm, but still, whatever is the research I have done, we have used 5-point scale. Even you can use 10-point, but preferred one is 5-point scale. It gives you enough leverage about a particular answer. No? It can be from strongly disagree to strongly agree. So 5-point scale is enough. Rather, it is good one. But
Fine,
in
sir.
many skills, in many skills you will find they have used 10-point also. So there is no binding that you need to study only those studies, or you need to go for developing a scale which is only talking about 5-point scale. You can go beyond that also, right?
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Then I have already mentioned here, do not use the items which are having below 75 approval from the judges. So that I have already said. Then after that, you whatever items you have dropped from the remaining data, you need to apply reliability, kurtosis, and skewness. These are the basic initial tests which you need to perform. You can use SPSS, you can use you can use Excel also. It depends on your comfortability. I think now everybody uses SPSS, so I think there is no harm in using applying these tools, statistical tools, which are basically applied to see whether our instrument is reliable or not, its consistency, and we talk about its validity also. So, and then we would like to see whether the data is in a form of a distribution or not, normal distribution or not, right? So depending on, I hope people are aware of these tests. Yes or no?
Participants, can you please respond so that we can accordingly move ahead? People are responding, yes, sir.
Yeah. Actually, the skewness is a measure of all the symmetry of a distribution, right? And if it is a negative skew, the values are negatively skewed, then it says that data is on a left side. It's skewed on a left side. And if it is going on a right side, then it is believed that data is going towards right when the value is plus. And as I have mentioned, the values +2 and -2 are acceptable values in the case of skewness and kurtosis. And in many literature reviews and in studies rather, you will find that they have used +3 and -3 also. But when we go for a factor analysis, it is a preferred one that we use +2 range from +2 to -2. Same is the case with the skewness. I would like to say one thing here. Some people might be, having a different opinion about reliability. In many studies, you will find researchers who are from abroad also. They believe that reliability should be zero 0.7 and above. So it is your own discretion, but the minimum should be 0.6. If you use 0.7 as minimum, there's no harm. Rather, it is always good. And we prefer that if the scale is, having a reliability of 0.897 something or 0.912, this is definitely very, very good. That means your data, your scale is reliable. So it is something very, very important also. And if you are getting this value, it is appreciable. Anyone has a question, please let me know.
Sir, there is one question. Can you kindly guide that at the stage of taking statement to pass to judge, can we have some statement from common understanding?
But it should be, very true. Sentence can be very simple one, but it should be related to your study only. Suppose I'm talking about customer satisfaction, then I cannot say if I'm talking about a scale which I'm developing for the service sector, so I cannot say that today's education today's education level has gone down. It should be relevant.
Okay.
Right? It should be related to your study. It should not go out of the box. Right?
Okay.
Something relevant has to be there, because otherwise they will put a question mark on you also, that you are not using a appropriate sentence which is related to your study. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Then I'll talk about then after that you need to check the values whether they are in the range or not. So after that you will drop certain statements. I have seen in my research experience that always certain statements are dropped. Either two will be dropped or four will be dropped, because as you said, somebody said that we may have a statement on our common understanding, but at the same time I would like to say that some people make a repetition of the sentences also, but they have framed it in a different manner. So some people may, rather most of the judges may drop that statement just because you have used it twice, right? So you should not use it twice. some people purposely, I have seen it literally, even in the scale also, that they are using the same sentence in a different manner. The meaning is more or less same, but the sentence formation is different. So it's better not to use this type of thing. It is giving a very bad impression that you are using the same thing again and again. And if it is done thrice, again, it is a very alarming situation for a researcher, that if somebody says that you are using the same sentence in a different form, maybe thrice or maybe more than that, so it is not good. So we need to check before we give the statements to the judges, right? So you need to check the values. As I said, the kurtosis value should be between -2 and +2. This is a normal range. And reliability, as it may, purposely I have mentioned 0.6 because some people prefer to have 0.7. So it is up to you, but I generally prefer 0.6. So skewness value and kurtosis value and reliability, if they are in the range, then you are eligible to proceed further, right? If any question you have, let me know.
So there is one more question.
Yeah.
Can we make use of the statement which are already, previously used in the scale? Is it
Yeah,
permissible?
yes, you can use, if possible, try to use some, sentence formation can be little different, having the same meaning. Even
Okay.
some questions can be same, but don't copy exactly as it is. It is preferred one, that have a same sentence in a different manner, right? The
Okay.
purpose should be same. Suppose I want to say that customer satisfaction uh, is based on the services offered by the organization. तो ये आपको स्टेटमेंट कहीं से मिला है, आपने देखा है या किसी स्केल में था, बट यू कैन चेंज इट लिटिल बिट, राइट? This
Okay.
is suggested. Then after dropping the statements and having the values of kurtosis and reliability and skewness, and if they are in the range, you need to apply item total correlation. What is item total correlation? Anybody who can tell me?
Yes, anybody? You can put it in the chat box. The
Or how
participant
it is calculated, you can tell me.
so participants are not aware of it. So if you
Yeah,
can please
yeah.
explain.
Just a minute. I just then I need to stop it, and then actually, what happens? Suppose you have. I just take a hypothetical situation. You have finally. Initially, I had 70 statements, and suppose 10 statements have been dropped because they were not being accepted by the judges because of some reasons. They did not like it. They were not in the coming in the proper parameter. So you have only 60 statement. And now you have actually initially you have 10 judges, but after this you will be, just a minute, I'll need to, yeah, before I would like to say one more thing. After having a formal statements now, suppose 60 statements, depending on the questions, अब आपके पास 60 statement है, तो उसका 10 times you need to have questionnaire to be filled. That means you should have a data of how much?
600.
600.
Correct. 600.
And that is why it is very typical. People do not prefer to develop a scale or a manual because it is a very tedious job, right? So
Exactly.
I'm using 60, but it can be less than that. So with the help of we nowadays we prefer to have one more author. Some people prefer to have total 3 to 4 authors in a research paper. In the same manner, you can have maybe 2 or 3 people. So the task can be given to other people also. And now we have a very good facility to use Google Form. So with the help of Google Form, your questionnaire can be filled. So after having this data, even as I said previously, you can apply this all values and all. And item total correlation is a relationship of each statement with the overall data. For example, you have suppose 60 statements finally, and 200 people, I'm assuming 200 people have filled the data. So on x-axis, you have on the, when you fill the data in your this thing, Excel sheet, on the top you will be having the respondents 1 to 200, right? And suppose on y-axis you have 60 statements. So you will be putting all the values as you have received from all the respondents, right? So you need to make a grand total for all the rows. Are you getting my statement?
Yes, sir.
For each row, you need to have a sum, right? Then applying the same formula, you need to have a, vertically also, you may have a, the addition of all the, of all that particular column. And this particular, the final sum which you are getting of all the rows, this will be, you need to go for a correlation between this final score and each item.
Okay.
इसको आइटम टोटल कोरिलेशन बोलते हैं. मतलब आपके पास यदि 60 स्टेटमेंट्स आए हैं तो आपके पास 60 आइटम टोटल कोरिलेशन निकलेंगे. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
दैट मीन्स फॉर ईच स्टेटमेंट का जो आपका टोटल आ रहा है, उसको आप टोटल जो आपकी वैल्यूज आ रही हैं, जो आपने अभी मैंने कहा था रो को आप कैलकुलेट करेंगे, उस जो कॉलम बन रहा है उसको अरे एक्चुअली जब आप कोरिलेशन निकालते हैं तो आपसे वो पाथ पूछता है, राइट? तो आप उस वर्टिकल कॉलम का और इस पर्टिकुलर जो आपकी वैल्यू आई है, राइट, पर्टिकुलर आइटम का जो है कॉलम, उसको आप कोरिलेट करेंगे एंड दिस वैल्यू शुड बी एट लीस्ट 0.2 और अबव. If it is less than 0.2, we will drop that statement. That means again we have a scope to drop the statement. Earlier the judges had dropped the statements, but after getting the final score, final values from the respondents, you can drop rather, or you should drop the values which are coming below 0.2. That is item total correlation. That means your individual statement should contribute in that scale. Is it okay or not? If anyone has a question, let me know.
Fine, sir. No, as such question right now. Was there is one thing that many of the participants are not able to understand Hindi. So, well, you are already.
Yeah. Sorry, extremely sorry. Yeah, because we are from Hindi belt, no? So in any case, yeah. So you need to use an item total correlation, and the item total correlation is the initial stage where you will be deciding that how many questions will be going further and how many will be dropped, right? Now, for final items, you need to take that I have already said. So you need to take the average and the standard deviation. So item total correlation talks about that only. So that we can skip also. Then after getting the final questions and the respondents which you have, because you have dropped certain questions which are having less than 0.2 value, that is item total correlation. So now you will be applying rotated factor matrix. That is, you will see the values which have come. I hope everybody is aware of factor analysis. Yes or no?
Participants, can you please respond?
Because if you do not know factor analysis, because with this we are trying to explore the factors which are contributing in your study.
Yes, many of the participants are aware of factor analysis.
Yeah. So yeah, first of all, actually it is not a very tough statistical tool which is nowadays applied in many research, because when we go for an exploratory search, like suppose my topic of research is exploring the factors which are, or identifying the factors which are contributing in emotional intelligence. So I have to apply factor analysis. So after having item total correlation and after dropping all those values which are coming below 0.2, these values will be dropped and further values will be continued. That means all those questions or items or variables will be continued, and then I will be applying factor analysis, that to rotated component matrix. So actually, you will find here after getting the values after this thing, the factor analysis, you will be in some cases you may have some people may get um, five factors. Some people may get depending on the number of questions you have and how many times they have been rotated. So you may get seven factors. Some people may get four questions. Lesser the questions, lesser the possibilities of having the factors. Is it right?
Fine, sir.
Yeah, I assume that if I have 60 questions, I may have 7 to 8 factors also. I will not say that it is hard and fast rule, but there is a possibility to have maybe 7 or 8 factors, or maybe otherwise six factors I may have. So after getting the factor analysis and the values which I'm getting, I will not keep the names of all the factors right now, but later on for all these related factors, I'm again going for item total correlation. I hope this is the process is more or less same, but earlier you had applied item total correlation without having a factor analysis, right? But now you are having only those values in the particular factor which are coming up to usually is a thumb rule that we take the values up to 0.5. Any starting value could be 0.971 and the lowest value in a particular factor might be 0.501, but if it is coming below 0.5 we don't accept, right? If the value is suppose 0.497, we don't consider that. So you have to be very sure that how many variables are coming in a particular factor. Is it right?
Okay, sir.
Right. Participants, I hope they are through with this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so after getting the factors, that is generating the factors, you need to again the same principle and you need to apply item total correlation for the factors which you have generated. That means the total factors which you are getting for all those factors, you need to again, suppose you have five factors, so you will get five item total correlation now, right? I'll proceed further. Then to get the dimension, you need to apply again the total, you need to apply rotated component matrix to get dimension because you may get, dimension. Earlier, you have not received dimension. You had only received the factors. So for all those factors, you will be receiving dimension because now we are narrowing our study, right? I hope everybody is clear.
So sorry to interrupt you, but few of our participants are still not clear about this total item correlation. So can you please
Yeah,
explain it once?
item total correlation is the same process which we had applied earlier. For example, in a particular factor, you have seven questions or items coming, right? So for these seven questions, you need to apply the same process as you did earlier. The total scale, how many items you are getting in the total scale, that you will be calculating in the form of in the each row, right? You need to actually convert. You cannot use the same table again. You need to take out the factors. You need to keep it in an Excel file, in a different Excel file. You need to prepare factor one on the x-axis, factor one, factor two, factor three, factor four, factor five, right? And all the values will be coming vertically in each factor, factor one to factor five. And you will be adding the same in the same manner as you did earlier. The row will be calculated. The total of all rows will be coming in a separate column, and this column will be correlated with each factor. Is it right or not?
I hope is it clear, ma'am? I think your doubt is clear. Yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So to get the dimension, you need to apply the rotated factor component matrix again so that you can squeeze the data again, and now you are coming to the dimension. Is it okay?
Fine, sir.
Yeah. Then now, since you have narrowed down your study, you need to apply the item total correlation between the dimension because earlier you had more factors. And since you have narrowed down your study and you have come to the, I will not say conclusion, but you have come to the dimension part. So these dimension will be, you need to take a item total correlation with all dimension. Suppose you have now 3 dimension, just for example. So you again, in the same manner as you did factor for the factor analysis, you will be calculating the item total correlation again, just to say whether, and again the thumb rule, if the value is zero point 0.2, now there is very little scope to get the value below 0.2. So, but you will be getting, you are squeezing the data now, and you are trying to get the dimension with the item total correlation, right? This is something very, very important to get the dimension and their relationship with each dimension, right? And the last point under this, I will be showing with the help of one Excel which I got from my study. Suppose in this you can see how many columns you can see other than the means, standard deviation.
So it's not visible right now.
Okay, I need to share. Okay, right. Just a minute. Just a minute.
Sure, sir. No problem.
Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can see one column which is saying 57.35, 7.19, 10.74, 14.56, and so on, right? So from B to J, these are the, this way we are developing a key. If you have seen the manual, if somebody has seen the manual, you will find at the end they talk about that how many items are coming in a particular dimension. So if you can see the second last row, that is statements serial number wise. So and this particular actually sheet is talking about factor wise norms. We are developing the norms factor wise, and you can have with the um, with the values also, right? So in this particular dimension, you are having item number 1. If you can see the second last row, item number 1, item number 3, item number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16. It is not necessary that you will get in sequence, because this some either item has been dropped or it has gone in some other factor, right, or dimension. So 11, 12, 13, 16, 17, 19, 22, 28, and 31. These are coming in a particular dimension. So these are the statements or the questions which have come in dimension 1. In dimension 2, you have only 2 questions, that is 23 and 39. In the third one, you have only 3 questions, that is 18, 20, and 7. Then in the fourth one, you have 14, 15, 21, and 33. So this is coming because of your item total correlation and the other values which you have calculated, whether it is, and then you can see in the first row, mean in, of the all the scores, which you have received for these items from 1st to 31. The mean score is 57.35, right? Standard deviation which has been calculated, that is 15.36. If Y73 has come, if you add 57.35 and 15.36, it is coming 73. Is it right?
Okay. Fine.
Right. So your higher score can go if somebody is, you know, filling the questionnaire or your scale, he will have maximum 73 that way score, and the minimum would be, if you take the difference 57.35 and 15, that will come to
40.
42 and below. That is the lowest one, and the normal range will be between above 42 and below 73.
73.
So that means the normal range will be between 43 to 72. I hope everything is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in the same manner, others can also be calculated, right? And this is something which is factor-wise norm. This is the key, which is the final one when we talk about a manual. And frankly speaking, it is a I will not say very, but it is a little tedious job. One has to have a patience, and then you can think of applying this thing. Your Just a minute. I'll share the main PPT.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. So this was the manual. I'll just show you the. Just Yeah, I have just taken this thing. I'm just showing the scale which I had developed long back. I'm just scrolling it. You can see how this looks like. It was done by me and Dr. Sanjot Pethe and Dr. Upender Dhar.
Sir, I
Many
think,
of you, yeah,
sir,
I need to share.
you need to share it. You need to.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
just, yeah. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this scale was developed by me and Dr. Pethe and Dr. Upinder Dhar, and it was published by Publication House from Lucknow. And I'm just scrolling. In the beginning, one needs to mention introduction of the topic. You can see the definition has been given by author Buck and other people also. Then you need to talk about the background of that, the studies, and the studies which have been done by other authors that can be mentioned in the scale. Then you may have, because there are some confusions, in the minds of people, that emotional intelligence is equivalent to something. There's So you can slightly mention what is the difference between that terminology. Just a, then this is the theory part. Then emotional intelligence and the organizations. So these are the, as I have said in the beginning also, Goldman has been the primary, has been a very important person in the field of emotional intelligence. And he was the pioneer in doing work in the emotional intelligence in many areas. So he has talked about self-awareness. He has talked about these are the factors which have been generated by him that time, right? Mood management, self motivation, empathy, managing relationships. Then, which we have done, it is, our talking about our work. Now, the exact work has come here, having the description of other researchers' work as well. So, development of the scale that you can see, I'm just scrolling it, the description of everything what we have discussed. If you can see, as I said, that you need to choose the 75% and above answers given by particular author. So that we have mentioned with all the table and all. Hindi version is also available, that I will show you. The reliability has been mentioned, and the validity has also been mentioned here. You can see that they are very high in this work. Factors which have been generated in our work is they are actually self-awareness. They can be common also, not necessary that you need to give something extra which has been done by others. So in some cases it can be common also. So self-awareness, then empathy, then you can have self-motivation, then emotional stability, managing relationship, integrity, self-development. If you can notice, there were very few factors in the case of the study done by Goldman. And when we did this study, our factors are more. Is it right or not?
Yes.
Right? These are the factors which have been generated by our study. And the limitation of the scale has been mentioned here because as we know that every study has some limitation, right? Or you may have more than one limitations also. So you need to mention that. And the norms of the scale, what we had seen previously, we talked about the norms of the scale, right? So what is the key which you will be using when you will be studying this particular scale on an individual person, right? So on the basis of that scoring, how the scoring will be done, that the whole process I have mentioned here with the help of my other partners and the references which we have used for the study. Uh, Here you will find the list of initial item. Why it is said that it is an initial item? Can anyone answer in the chat box?
Yes, anybody would like to attempt? No reply till now, sir.
If you can recall, I had said in the beginning that whatever items you have generated in the beginning, that will be administered on 10 judges. So that was my initial item, right? Right.
So these are the items which are being there before the filter was done by the judges.
Yes, very true. So we had in that case, we had around, you can see the number of statements, 106. And after applying item total correlation and the judges which they have filtered the items, then we came across with only limited questions. If I'm not wrong, they are 34.
Okay.
Yeah, 34.
Fine.
So see, 105 में से कितने, how many maximum questions have been dropped? Right?
1/3 we can say almost.
Yes. So it is not. It does not mean that we have not done a good study, or maybe that our sentences were duplicate in nature, or some statements were not belonging to the EI part. That may be also possible. Or I believe that as a researcher, I may think that this statement is very much related to EI, but actually it is not related to EI. Because when we talk about empathy, suppose I want to highlight empathy. So I may use any statement which is, as per my opinion, it is related to empathy, but it is not related to empathy. So this becomes a problem, and definitely, and that is why we have judges who are giving their frank opinion that these questions need to be dropped, right? And that is why out of 105 questions, they are having finally only 34 statements. Is that right? And
Yes.
And no doubt because every time, because we are in a Hindi belt, so you cannot be only you cannot be happy that you have developed a scale in English because it can be administered on the people who are workers, right? Or even if they are not workers, but they are the people who do not know much English. They may understand little bit, but then fully they don't understand. So in this case, we prefer to have a scale in Hindi also. So at the end, you need to convert the English version into Hindi. That's all, nothing else. And at the end, you can see the item total correlations that we have already applied. You can see the values which are 0.2 and above that have been taken, and rest of the values have been dropped. This is the you can see the factor. You can see if I hope everybody, I think this is the right time. You can see these are the factors. No, you have in 10 factors. Under factor 1, you have the highest value 0.668, 0.66. Can you, if I'm scrolling, 0.717, right? So these are the values which are coming 0.733. Is it right? It's 29 number question, right? So this way you need to have the factors. The factors have been coming over here, and in these factors later on we applied the item total correlation for all those values, because you will not be using the same table again to have a item having an item total correlation. You will be using only those values which have been highlighted in a particular factor. Is it okay? Yeah, any question?
Participants, if you have any doubt till this stage, you are free to ask.
Yeah, and this is the manual. Yeah, this is the final key which we discussed in the form of Excel, if you can recall, right? Standard deviation, mean, normal range, high range, low range, etc. So I hope we have talked about scale, how to develop a scale. It requires definitely patience, and you need to give enough time to get the data, because 10 times data is always required. If I have final items like 40, you should have 400 questions to be filled by the researchers or by the respondents, I mean to say, right?
Yes, sir.
Any question? Otherwise, I'll proceed further with the remaining part. Skill development part we have done.
Sure, sir. We can proceed further now.
Yeah. Yeah, we are using now another a different thing, as the topic says, as I'm told by the coordinators of this RM workshop, that tips for selecting a journal for publication. Because every faculty, whether he or she is a junior faculty or a senior faculty, because teacher is incomplete without research work. Yes or no?
Absolutely, sir.
Right? So I remember when I started my teaching career in the year 1995, I started with a desk work. Frankly speaking, I don't, because that time having computer at home was it was like a dream, you know. And only the offices were having computers. There was no laptop in India, probably. And even if it was in India, we never had in Indore. So we used to be dependent on only on the the desktop which is available in the office, that is the institute, management institute. So when we are publishing our papers, there are certain points which we need to keep in mind. That first of all, pick a journal that best aligns your paper, which is fitting in your topic with the particular journal and your interest. I remember, before I proceed further, I would like to give an example, because we had this corona problem last year also. Since March, we are facing this problem throughout India, especially, and people started writing papers on COVID-19, right? So then it came into my mind that why not to write a paper on COVID-19, how COVID-19 has affected our lives, right? How it has impacted. So we started a paper, and then we tried to search, because every journal will not entertain us. What do you say? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Every Because if I send it to HR and general management journal, they may not like, because actually they are not looking forward for that type of paper. So they may say ki, right, okay, the paper is good, but then since we are not coming up with a special issue, we will not, the paper is good, but it will not be entertained. So you need to pick a journal that best aligns your paper in that, which is suiting to your topic and the interest. So if I choose a topic like, um, uh, like as I said, COVID-19 paper on COVID-19, or it can be on service quality, it can be on customer satisfaction. So I need to identify, some papers are specifically on service sector. They are targeting the papers which are on service sector, or there are issues. If I'm not wrong, in HR we have certain journals which are talking about issues in the industrial relations only, right? So which are related to trade union, some conflict management which has been applied by any industry. So you need to pick a journal because now we have a list of Scopus listed journals. We have a list of ABDC, UGC Care, and and many more, right? So you need to pick a journal, and first of all, you need to go to their terms and conditions, because sometimes what happened that we send a paper, but finally after 8 or 9 months we come to know that the paper has not been accepted because they do not entertain such type of studies. In abroad, many journals accept our papers even if they are not empirical papers. Are you getting?
Fine, sir.
They are very happy with the conceptual papers also. But in India, the leading journals, frankly, I'm saying, they don't entertain conceptual papers, right? And they will otherwise they will come in many review paper category or some other category, but they will not be coming in a their prominent part of the papers will not be talking about your paper if it is not empirical. So that is why it is said that you need to pick a journal that best aligns your paper in terms of topic and interest. And how to choose the topic? The topic should be very, as I have mentioned in one of the slides, your topic should be very catchy. Catchy means some people are very fond of having a very lengthy statement when they talk about their title of the paper. It is too lengthy, and the author, the reviewers are not very much interested in taking that paper for their journal. The reason is only one, that might be the contents are good. You have applied good statistical tools, but they are not taking your topic just because it is too lengthy. So you need to narrow down your topic so that it is accepted. But at the same time, the work should also be good. That is something very important. And no doubt, the tools which you have applied in the paper should be comparatively good. You cannot be. There was a time when we talked about, the percentage analysis, and as many of the students do, they do percentage analysis, and they are very happy that they have done a MRP. So this should not be happening with us also. So you need to be very particular about that. So the first point under this, I would like to say that, has the journal, published related topics before? Because if I am sending my paper, I need to go through the previous issues also. You need to do homework. As we give homework to our students, in the same manner as a faculty, we need to do the homework whether that particular journal has issued certain types of papers earlier or not. If they have not entertained such papers, definitely they will not entertain my paper or your paper also. If it is ultimately, if it is very unique, which is throwing light on a very different paradigm, then it's okay. But otherwise, 99% they may not entertain my paper or your paper. Is the impact of the journal at the same level as your paper? What is that?
Yes, participants.
Suppose they are talking about service quality. So is my paper talking about the same on the same line or not? If they are not talking, if my paper is not talking about that, or suppose we are talking about a special issue, which I have mentioned in this particular slide, the last point, is it a special issue? Because there are certain journals which are publishing the papers on a particular topic like COVID-19. I hope you might have seen it also, that special issue. So if I have sent a paper which is not on COVID-19, for that issue, they will not entertain. They may, if they like the paper, they may entertain for further issues, and they will definitely send a mail to us that since the current issue is talking about a different uh, theme, so if you wish, you can give us permission so that we can use it later on. So that depends on the special issue. But otherwise, some special issues are talking about a specific theme that you need to ensure. Is the audience correct? Audience, what do you mean by audience? Is it a journal which is talking about the same study or the same type of work which you want to tell them? That is something more important because I don't want to send a paper to a journal which is not having, it is only for suppose industry people. Because what happens, even if a person does a MBA and then he has done PhD also, and he might be working in industry and holding a good position, but they would like to have a generally what my experience is, they would like to have a theoretical papers so that they sharpen their knowledge. But they don't want to have any empirical paper. Generally, what I'm trying to say, I just quote one example because some people may not agree what I say. I remember there was a person who was in a central government. And I don't remember the department. Long back, he met me and he wanted to do PhD. So he when he came to me and I said, "Sir, you need to study a lot because you have done your post graduation long back and you have to brush up your knowledge." Like RM topics, you need to understand what is this, what is that. So he was looking at me, that means he was not very familiar with the terms which I was talking about, right? I talked about universe. I basically talked about research methodology. So though he was holding a very good position in central government, but he was not aware of. Actually, he had forgotten everything by that time. So your audience should be correct, right? I hope the meaning is very clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any
Yes, sir.
question if they have, they can ask in between, or at the end we can take the question. That would be better, right?
Yes, sir. So there is one suggestion. I mean, there is one approval. He wanted to know that
Yeah.
socio-economic impact of COVID-19 in India. Is
Huh.
this a title correct or not?
Can you repeat?
Socio-economic impact of COVID-19 in India.
Yeah, it is
So,
good. It is good. It is very crispy. Okay, fine.
mhm.
But you cannot make it very lengthy just to elaborate. You are elaborating everything in that title. That will not be acceptable. This is okay, right?
Fine.
And even from my point of view, it is definitely very okay. But it all depends because some people may, if that journal does not like this, that is their prerogative, right? But it is good. I feel it is good, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
I'll continue.
Sure, sir.
Then title should be catchy, as I have already said. You need to have keywords. Some journals, they always mention that you need to have minimum 5 keywords. So one should be with, because when people are searching the papers, they may search the paper with the keywords also. So you should use only those keywords which are repeatedly coming in your paper and which are very prominent ones. So one should be very clear about this. Keywords should always be there because some journals say 5, some people say 7, some say 8, but generally they are coming in the range of 5 to 7, right? Language used in the paper, because sometimes we are trying to use very complex English just to impress the reviewers and the people who are going through the paper. I understand that language plays very important role when you go to a journal, but one should be very clear that it should not be very complicated, right? It should be very okay type of thing, easily understood. You may have certain words which are impacting uh, the readers, but it should be good one, right? Grammatically you need to correct all the statements. Sometimes you're talking about past tense and then there are certain things which are coming which are not appropriate, that you need to check. Editing needs to be done properly. What happens now, we have softwares also which do editing part also. At the same time, though I have not used it, but people say that they are there. Framing of the sentences can also be done with the help of softwares. So I prefer to do on my own. So I have not used it so far. So editing has to be done. At least if you are 2 to 3 authors, you should be very particular about it. It's not the matter that only one person has done and the editing part and rest of the people are not doing this. I think it should be done by all the people, one by one, so that if there is any mistake which is left out, one can always think of identifying it and you need to correct it. Journals frequency of publication. Personally, I would say that one should prefer quarterly journals, which are publishing their papers, publishing the journal quarterly, because it gives you more scope to have the paper in the journal. But there are chances if the papers are not good, definitely they may reject also. But if it is an annual, having annual publication, then after a very long time, you may get a mail that the paper has not been selected. So I think the frequency plays also a very important role. So I will not say that if you see a journal which is half yearly, publishing the articles or papers, you should not send over there. But preference should be given to quarterly journals. But then later on, it can be even there are papers. I remember one or two papers are my papers are in annually, also. So
Publishing.
it all depends. It all depends, but our preference should be quarterly so that scope of coming over there is good, right? Any question?
No, sir, you can please proceed.
Yeah, just a minute.
Now, somebody is asking regarding the number of pages for the research paper. I mean, 6 to 7 pages are enough?
It's not like that. It's not a compulsion. Actually, every journal mentions that how many words are the maximum one, or they should be the maximum one, or the pages. Even they will mention double spacing or single spacing or 1.25, right? So they always mention. So it's not that only you need to first of all search. When you search a journal, you need to identify what exactly their preferences are about the word limit. Sometimes I remember I sent one my paper to a journal. They said it is a very lengthy one. It was having, I think, around 28 pages. So they said you reduce it to 20. So if you are targeting a particular journal, then you need to focus on their guidelines, which is
Okay.
definitely very important. Because if I may say that I have done a lot of work in my paper, I will not reduce it to 20 pages, then frankly speaking, they will not accept your paper. Even if they are liking it, just because of length of the paper, they are not accepting. So one has to be very, cautious in giving answers to them, because your answer may not be appropriate, my answer may not be appropriate, and because of that only my paper may not be coming in that journal. And the more nowadays there are many journals which are paid journals. What do you say? There are paid journals as well. So try to avoid paid journals, because when any inspection team comes or when any authority wants to check the papers which you have published in your academic career, if it is a paid journal, it has a very low weightage. So try to avoid, but I understand because we all are from teaching fraternity. So just because we want to have our papers in the Scopus or ABDC or UGC care, we are bound to pay some amount of money, and it is being shared by all the people who are the authors of the paper. So initially, you may think of, I will not say that don't pay any amount of money. If it is reasonable one, it's okay, but try to avoid later on. Because if your one paper has come in ABDC or in Scopus, which has been a paid one, one is enough, I think, just to say that you had a paper in Scopus, but try to have your publication in non-paid journals, right? And I have also seen, I have come across with this statement also, there are some hidden charges which they may not tell you even before accepting your paper. But the moment they accept your paper, they will send you a very good mail that your paper has been accepted. But because it is as per our policy issue, we would like to have this amount of money because we need to pay some amount of money to the reviewers. So that is why we are charging this money from you. So these are actually hidden charges. They should not do this. They should be very transparent. Why there is? What is the harm in writing publication fee in your on the website, right? What do you say?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so hidden charges one needs to ensure, and if it is there, and if you are very much interested in publishing your paper over there, then it's okay. But we should avoid. We should avoid. Then check the current status of the journal in which paper is planned to send. Uh, Actually, what happens, every year the authorities are their uh, reviewing the status of the journal. Yesterday only I was going through a Scopus list. The journal was earlier in A, now it is in B category, right? Or the journal earlier was in C category, now it is nowhere in Scopus list. So you it is your dream journal, for example, or my dream journal. But the moment I have sent the paper there, they have accepted also. It has been published also. But when somebody told me, you just check whether it is coming in the ABDC or Scopus or in UGC Care, then I came to know that it is nowhere. So this should not happen with anyone. So before that, you need to check the data, the recent one, and this is also very true that many journals do not mention the status of their journal, that it is a ABDC listed or ABDC A or B or C, or it is Scopa. This is also very true. So it was also shocking for me when my paper got published in ABDC journal, and it was not mentioned in the journal anywhere. I'm trying, I would like to share the name of the journal. It was from Sri Ram College of Commerce, New Delhi, right? It is not mentioned over there that it is ABDC, but in the on the net, I could find that it is a ABDC listed journal. So this may happen, but you need to be very sure about it, where you are sending, right? Suppose you have done a very good job and the paper is excellent in terms of tools applied and in terms of the grammar and everything. The editing part has been done very nicely. It has been done by all the authors, and overall the paper is good, but and it has been accepted also. But finally you have come to know that it is not in any category. It is not in ABDC, not in Scopus, not in UGC Care also. So your whole purpose is not serving now, right? Yeah, I think this is all from my side. I think it is done. Yeah, I would be very happy if you have any questions so that I can entertain those questions.
So participants, if you are having any question, you can please raise your hand and you can get an opportunity to directly ask the question to the sir. Or you can even mention in the chat box. Okay, so one question I would like to ask, like generally people are, little bit reluctant when you have a lot of questions in your, form, Google form, or when you are
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, very
So
true.
how we can assure the completeness, even the conciseness of our, scale and questionnaire? How it can be done?
Actually, when I will not say the faculties are very fond of filling up the questionnaire. Even at times, we are also reluctant in filling up the questionnaire when the questions are too much, right? But other than academicians, people are not interested in filling up the questionnaire. This is also very true, right? So we need to, if somebody says that I'm very busy, today I cannot fill your questionnaire if it is in a hard copy. So just wait for him, let him be relaxed, and if he says that come tomorrow main kal bhar dunga, so it's okay, right?
Okay.
But don't be in hurry that do it right now, right? And if you have to do it right now. And what is the drawback when we are sending the Google form, because somebody doesn't want to say no. So what he does, 1111 5555, right?
Correct.
So this should not be the case. Prefer the respondents which are really good that way, who are helping you. And I remember when I did my PhD, and that time there was no concept of Google form. Actually, my degree got awarded in the year 2003. So I used to go, I used to meet people personally, and my study was on insurance companies and nationalized banks. So when I went to meet the respondents, the first question which they asked was, what is the advantage of filling this questionnaire? So every time you can just convince that since I'm in academics, my job is to not only sharpen my knowledge, but with this my other beneficiaries, the students will be benefited with my outcome, the organization will be benefited. So you can convince them, right? But every time benefit cannot be shown to them directly, right? And sometimes you pressurize somebody. What happens, I have seen people also, suppose I'm a faculty and when I go to my class, I just take 10 minutes time and I tell my students, within 10 minutes you fill the questionnaire. This is also a very typical situation where they are bound to fill the questionnaire, and again they may not read the sentence properly. And since the teacher is, I will use the word, the faculty is standing on the head, he will definitely say, okay, fine, I will do it. But what exactly he's filling, he does not know. So this situation should not arise. They should be, they should be in a comfortable stage, and they should be genuinely doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Any other question?
Sir, there are a few questions that I would like to put. How to
Yeah.
do a survey paper, sir? There is one question from the participant. How we can go for a survey paper?
Survey paper exactly means? Survey paper means you want to survey as a empirical research, you mean to say?
Yes, a kind of.
Yeah,
This is what-
empirical paper, any there are basically two broad categories. One is a desk work. Suppose I want to write a paper on COVID-19, right? So what I do, instead of taking a primary data, I'm not preparing a questionnaire, I'm not taking the interviews, or I'm not, taking a primary data in nutshell. What I'm doing, I'm just gathering the secondary data, which is already available on the net, or it is available with the help of journal. So I'm just taking those things and putting it in my paper, and finally I'm adding my views only. That's all. So
Okay.
it's a desk work. But when I say survey work, it's basically a research work which is being carried on by me or by anybody else with the form of, or with the help of questionnaire, or with the help of some, you are already there, you are noting down something, it's an observation also, right? So that is a survey, but it is little time consuming as compared to when you go for a secondary data. Primary data takes lot of time. Yeah.
So
Any
there is
other
one.
question?
Thank you so much, sir. Another question is, what are the advantages of using a Likert scale in the thesis?
Yeah, thesis. Yeah, very good question. Suppose you are not using any scale, you are just mentioning that I have heard about this, and I feel that the respondents are, like that in the current scenario. Like we always say, the students they are not much interested in going to the library, right? But if the same thing is being asked in the form of a questionnaire, and there are certain questions, they may be 10 in number, they may be more than 10, and there are, as you said, Likert scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. So the scope is very high that somebody would say either one or two, because it is my opinion which is coming in the form of disagree or strongly disagree, right? So there is a variation, there is a gradual improvement in the form of your answer, not at all true to always true, or strongly disagree to strongly agree.
Agree.
So you may have n number of answers coming over there depending on the type of scale which you are using.
Okay.
It could be 10 point also, it hardly matters.
Fine, sir.
Thank you so much. So one more question, how we can, reduce the plagiarism to 15% or less? I mean, how it can be
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, because the government has said that UGC norm says that it cannot be more than 15, right? So you need to, even actually what happened earlier, because people used to do cut, copy, paste. And that way it is not your actual work which is being shown when you are presenting your paper or when you are sending your paper somewhere. So it is always good to change the sentence in your own words. I remember I'm just sharing with you. Recently, I was going through a paper which has been done by my co-author. Partially, he has done it also. Can you imagine the plagiarism in the introduction part was 75%? How
Okay.
much? 75%. And when I reduced, I changed the whole sentence, in a different manner, because in any case, if I'm sending it to a journal, it has to be within the range, right? So it came down to 35. And then
Okay.
again, I had to do more work on that. And I came that to know that it is right now 12%. Still, I'm not happy that I would like to come within the range, maybe 10%. So this is the scene, no? We are very happy that we have taken, n number of studies from these journals, and these are the good authors also. And my work is over because I have mentioned my introduction part, I have mentioned literature review, I have mentioned research methodology, I have mentioned objectives and hypothesis. The result and discussion is also very excellent. And then I have finally mentioned the references. So we are not doing the exact work. We are just doing cut, copy, paste. Maximum work is otherwise cut, copy, paste. You need to convert those sentences in such a manner that the plagiarism goes down.
Okay, sir.
Because it's a ethical issue, no? They don't entertain. They don't entertain. I remember one of my scholars sent one paper in one conferences, and the paper was supposed to be published in a journal. They said the plagiarism is coming to 17 or 19%. So they sent it back.
Okay.
They will not entertain just because Anukul Hyde's name is associated with them, with that student. They will not.
Fine, sir.
So there is last question that I would like to ask.
Yeah.
What is this impact factor on a journal, and how much it should be normal?
It should be normal. Even if I say impact factor is like how people have been appreciating that particular journal in terms of its popularity, right? So that could be, it should be, if it is high, I have seen it is 4.6.9 also. That is very good. But even if you come, just go through it's like a homework. If you go to the Vision journal, which is MDI Gurgaon journal, its impact factor is not that high. But it is a renowned journal, renowned institute's journal, and it is an ABDC list. So do not go for, always do not go for an impact factor, though it sounds good and it is always acceptable. But our emphasis should be on ABDC or Scopus and or maybe UGC care rather than talking about impact factor.
Okay.
Right? Impact
Fine.
factor may be low. It may be low, comparatively low, but more important thing is where it is going to be published. That is something very important.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. It was really a very nice session, and you have very, clearly clear out the doubts of our participants. So now I would like to request